You bet. Hey, not that I like anything. Before I get my guy Philly Godfather in here, and I want him to know this, and I said this earlier in the program, not that I like a lot of things from Jersey, because like I told you, the reason the Statue of Liberty faces the other way, so everyone in Jersey can kiss their ass. Okay? That's why the statue faces the other day. So I don't want anyone to think I've fallen in love with that thing. But the only man that could probably match Jeffrey Lurie when it comes to buying yachts, my man, Philly Godfather. How you doing, brother?
I wish, man. He stole that Eagles team when he first bought it. If you think about it, what a great deal. He made a great move behind him.
Dude, look at Jerry Jones. He bought the team for $150 million. Now it's worth $10.7 billion.
Wow, what a return. I mean, you couldn't get that in the market over those years. That's a great move, man. If you can buy an NFL team, go out there and buy one.
Hey, how about this one? I'll give you another one. Spanos took over for Gene Klein and spent only $54 million for the Chargers. Now the team's worth $3 billion.
Wow, it's insane, right? That's insane money.
And gambling, right, is now going to escalate the values of these teams because now the money that's being thrown around.
Yeah, it seems like everyone you talk to, I mean, women, men, no matter what the age demographics are, it seems like everyone's betting on sports, whether it's $1, $50 or $1,000. Seems like everyone's getting down these days.
All right. Let's first, I was going to start out with this ridiculous Devin White move, but I'm going to go with this Kenny Pickett move. And before you respond, I want to throw this out. I'm not saying that this guy is spectacular, but what I am saying is that a subtle message or is that a loud message that, hey, just like in Jacksonville, Mac Jones is brought in behind Trevor. Sam Howell's brought in behind Geno. I mean, how do you read that? Because, again, I'm not suggesting he's really great or anything, but, man, 2 years, and he personally scouted him when he went up and saw him play against North Carolina when he was at Pitt. How do you look at this?
I don't think Hurts has anything to be worried about. I think it's more of a move because they lost their backup, Mariota. He left, so you got to bring someone in. And they stole him. I mean, you got him for basically peanuts. And he could start. So it's the best of both worlds. I think it's a good move by Howie, but I don't think Hurts has anything to worry about.
Better not throw 2 picks right away, or Jersey Mafia is going to be rolling around in that thing.
Jersey Mike's showing up with the crew.
Hey, they'll be calling him Kenny Soprano pretty soon. If that guy throws a couple picks, remember this. Always remember something with small hands. Okay? A lot of things look bigger in your hands when you got small hands. I was just looking there, going there. All right. Let's go to this Devin White thing. I mean, I never thought that I would yearn for the day of Zach Cunningham and Nicholas Morrow, but they signed a guy who in 5 years had one really good year, and the rest of those years, the Bucs just said this, forget it. How do you look at this?
I mean, his production has fallen off each and every year since 2020. It's like falling off a cliff. He went from 140 combined tackles, 97 solo tackles, 9.5 sacks in 2020. What do you have last year? I don't know, 83 combined tackles, 49 solo, 2.5 sacks. So his numbers have dropped off each and every year. I think they gave him too much money. I wouldn't have brought him in, but, if he can perform a little better than he has been over the last couple of years. But it's been almost half a decade. I mean, it's been 4 years since he's, shown some brilliance. So I wouldn't have done it, but maybe Howie knows something I don't.
Yeah, not on defense, you don't. And I'm going to throw this at you here, too. So you look at his contemporary in Patrick Queen. Patrick Queen signs a 3-year, $18 million deal. This guy gets a 1-year prove-it deal where you can bow out of this thing. And you got people around here going because they saw him as the 5th pick in the draft as being a savior. And get this, the number one thing they're saying that he can't do is stop the run. So Did they get better on defense?
The odds makers don't think so. Their odds really haven't changed much. Cowboys and the Eagles are still basically tied to win the NFC East, and the Cowboys haven't made any moves. Odds to win the Super Bowl, 49ers plus 550, Detroit plus 1,200. Then you got the Cowboys and the Eagles at 17-1, along with the Packers at 18-1. Not much movement in the line. And you really got to pay attention to the sports betting market because, like we've mentioned in the past, it takes big money to move those prices. And those guys are the sharpest guys in the world. They back their opinion with millions of dollars. It's not like, some guy going on TV and giving you his opinion and he hasn't backed it up with cash. These guys put their money where their mouth is. So if you don't see no movement in the market, I don't know if these moves are really paying off for the Eagles, next season.
Did it shock you that the Steeler number didn't move when it came to the signing of Russell Wilson? It didn't really move much, did it? I mean, you would have thought that was going to be an improvement on the Steelers there, but are you shocked a little bit that number didn't go up, giving them a better odds?
Not really. That division's so stacked. I mean, Burrow's not
it is
healthy. Ravens are still tough, even though Lamar chokes in the playoffs. They're still tough during the regular season. That's just that division's stacked. So Russell Wilson has a lot of work to do if the Steelers are going to compete and actually have a chance of winning that division next season.
All right, what do you make of the Barkley sign?
I mean, if you got 2 sports cars in your driveway and your roof needs to be replaced, do you go out and buy another sports car? There's only one football, and I can see it now. I can see A.J. Brown on the sidelines bitching and complaining he's not getting the ball enough. How many mouths can you feed on it? Their offense isn't the problem. I think they spent the money in the wrong place. I think they should have got Queen, like you said. But we'll see. I mean, he's a game changer, and when he's healthy, I mean, he's like I don't want to say he's McCaffrey, but he's McCaffrey-ish. And if the Eagles are rolling and everything's clicking their way, and they're firing on all cylinders in the playoffs, they become extremely dangerous. But like I said, not much movement in the sports betting market, so that tells me, I don't know. I wouldn't have paid $12 million a year for him.
How about this too? Last 4 years since the injury, he's at 2,800 yards. Joe Mixon and Josh Jacobs, those guys are better. Derrick Henry, you could have got cheaper, and you got back. I mean, do you think what is going to hurt this team more, the loss of Jason Kelce or the addition of Saquon Barkley?
Jason Kelce, he's unreplaceable. I told you before, guy's a rock star. He's the center, touches the ball in every possession, second most important person on the field at any given moment. Guys like that are hard to replace. And then you look at their 4th down conversion rate from last year, 3%, 75%. Without him playing center, is it going to be that high? Are they going to be able to extend those drives to give the Eagles, more chances to win the game? The cohesiveness early in the season, that could be a problem with their offensive line. As you've taught me in the past, it takes time for that offensive line to start gelling. If I'm Harry Roseman, I step to Jason Kelce and I make him an offer he can't refuse. And if they do that and they bring him back, this team becomes extremely dangerous very quickly, even though they had that bad stretch last season, 1-6 down, towards the end of the season. But there's still, listen, there was a lot of animosity in that locker room, and hopefully it doesn't linger on to this season. But they had some issues. Sirianni lost the team last year. Jalen Hurts alienated some players, but this is going to be a brand new season. So it really depends on if they can make an offer to Kelce and he comes back, this team's really dangerous.
Angelo said earlier on the program he thinks this is a 6-win team.
No, I don't think they're a 6-win team. They still got so many weapons on offense.
Yeah, but that defense, man, it's
but they brought back CJ. I mean, CJ, if you remember 2 years ago. He's not special when it comes to being a technician, but the one thing he is special at is that he makes plays. You know what I mean? I mean, you're going to eat sometimes a guy who's not a good technician versus a guy who's going to make a turnover play for you. You know what I mean? I mean, he's always around the ball is my point. He's a ball hawk, and he makes game-changing plays. Like you said, he had 6 interceptions 2 years ago. Eagles only had 16 on the season. They lose him. You saw what happened to that defensive backfield. Hopefully he hasn't lost a step from that injury, and he can come back and play at an optimum level, because if he doesn't, the way he left Philly, those Eagles fans are going to be on his ass if he has a down year. So hopefully he hasn't lost a step, and he can help this team out, because with him back there, I think they're a lot better. But they still have a lot of holes to fill.
I want to play a little game with you here now. Who has a better season? The Eagles or the Rams?
Man, they lost Donald. That's huge. I I think the Eagles have a better season. I still think they're the better team, even though the Rams have the much better head coach, probably the better quarterback. But the Rams are losing some key players, and that's going to hurt them on the defensive side of the ball.
Who has a better year? Eagles, Chiefs.
You can't quantify greatness, Dan. I'll never bet against the Chiefs. Never. I wanted to bet the 49ers so bad because they had the better team, and I ended up betting the 49ers in the first half and the Chiefs full game of the Super Bowl. I ended up winning both wages, but man, it's the Chiefs. I think that, when you got Patrick Mahomes back there, their season win total set at 11.5. I think the Chiefs have a better year.
Who has a better year? Eagles, Ravens.
Ravens are still stacked, but they have lost some players.
The
Falcons might have a better year than the Eagles.
Who?
The Falcons.
Hey, I'm going to tell you this, and I've been barking this thing. That guy's made $412 million in his career. Brady made $375.
Wow.
That shows you how crazy. Hey, does that move? Doesn't it also show you, too, that guys like Dak Prescott and Kirk Cousins, that there's a talent deficiency at that position in the league? When you got guys like that make that kind of money, that could still command that kind of money, that there is a deficiency at the quarterback spot.
Well, there's like 5 or 6 elite quarterbacks, and there's a huge drop-off after that. And then you can just, put this guy at number 7 or number 8 and flip-flop him. But Kirk Cousins, right now, his passing yards are set at over 4,100 yards. So they're expecting him to have a big season. Out of all the football teams so far, the Falcons' odds to win the Super Bowl have dropped the most. They're down to 22-1. The Eagles are 17-1. So,
So wait a minute. So you have just almost as good of odds of taking the Falcons as you do the Eagles?
Yeah. I mean, the Falcons are going to be tough. They're going to be much better. They're going to have an easier schedule. The Bears are going to be tough to beat. They're going to have a last place schedule. But to me, the Packers at 18-1, 19-1, that's the team that scares me the most in the NFC.
Who has a better season, Packers or Eagles?
I think the Packers do.
Packers add Josh Jacobs, too.
I think they win their division. I think Detroit doesn't win it this year. Already better. You can get like plus 225, a little over 2-1 for the Packers to win the division. As long as they're healthy. You saw what happened. The end of the season, they got healthy and they got dangerous. Early on, they were banged up on their offensive line, and it showed. But that team's very dangerous as long as they're healthy.
Who would you rather have as your quarterback, Jordan Love or Jalen Hurts?
I don't know, man. I need another year of Jordan Love. I haven't given up on Jalen Hurts. Obviously, he's got more weapons than anybody. I mean, if you put Jordan Love on this Eagles team, maybe he plays better. The Eagles are stacked. They're everywhere. They got weapons, tight end, wide receivers, running back now. But their offensive line, big if.
Would you want Lamar Jackson or Jalen Hurts?
Lamar Jackson is dead to me.
Oh my God!
I
the bag of money got lost, and he lost to Mahomes.
Yeah, it's not that they lost to the Chiefs. It's how he performed in that game. Anytime he steps up, big moment, playoffs, he looks like trash. I mean, how great has he looked during the regular season? And then you see that huge drop off in the playoffs. They just shut him down. He's not that guy. And I'm not betting on him again in the playoffs. And I talked so much trash about Lamar over the years. And this year I gave him a chance. And they had me fooled. That defense was top 5. The offense was top 5. But in the end, Lamar Jackson performed like a mediocre quarterback against the Chiefs.
Who has a better year, Baker Mayfield or Jalen Hurts?
That division got tough. I don't know. Flip a coin. How about that?
Flip a coin between Baker Mayfield.
Flip a coin. Flip a coin.
Flip a coin between Baker Mayfield. Now we're getting. See, this is what I'm trying to pin you where I think you're looking at on who he compares to. I mean, Mayfield had a superior year to him.
Yeah, I mean, he played better than him last year, but Jalen Hurts to me still. I think he's the better athlete. He gives you more ways to win. I can't wait to see how this Eagles offensive line does without Jason Kelce at center, how they perform on 4th down. If they can't convert those 4th down plays, it's going to be a tougher season than most people think.
You think Jalen gets back to MVP type of season? I don't.
I don't think so. I mean, that's, that year you had record-breaking seasons. A.J. Brown, they scored the most first half points of any team in NFL history. I think that year everything was clicking, everything was going right. Everyone was a monster that season. It's hard to do that again, and he's definitely top 10. But if those turnovers continue and he keeps throwing interceptions and fumbling the football, this Eagles team's in trouble.
Have you been shocked with the fact the way the Eagles have spent money at now linebacker and have spent money at running back? Do you think that that's been a course direction by ownership and by the general manager? That, I mean, look, like you said, hey, they bought 2 Ferraris when they only needed 1.
Yeah.
I mean, you had 2 Pro Bowl running backs, the last 2 seasons that were 2 different dudes. I mean, do you think there's been a course change?
A little bit. The Eagles are trying. I mean, you got to give them an A for effort. They're going out there.
Absolutely.
They re-signed Josh Sweat, which is huge. He's had 31 sacks over the last 4 seasons. That was Jake Elliott. I mean, who's more important to this team other than Jalen Hurts, Jason Kelce, and Jake Elliott? And Kelce's gone. How many games did Jake Elliott win you over the last couple of years? I mean, that was massive. You had to sign him. Josh Sweat was huge. Huff, he had 10 sacks last season, but in his first few couple of years, he wasn't as good. Now he got the big money. I think the Eagles kind of overpaid for him. But if you lose Reddick, you need someone to go in there after the quarter. And he's not good against the run either. He's not a run defender. So as long as he gets to the quarterback, who cares? But you might have overspent there, but at least you got something. I think more defense, spend more money on linebackers, safety, instead of running backs would make me happier.
Okay. I'll take this here. I'm going to take this into a different direction here for a couple last questions. Sports-wise, at the end of this season in the off year, will Joel Embiid be a member of the Sixers, or will he not be a member of the Sixers heading into next year?
How do you you got to keep him. That's all they have. Without him, there's no team.
Why would he stay? Does he demand a trade?
Yeah.
Why would you stay? Where are you going?
Well, I mean, it's his home. He's been here for a while. He loves the fans, But, yeah, if he wants to win a championship, I think he's got to get out of town. But I'm not sure.
No way, man. Hey, bags of money, you let me go to some place that gives me an opportunity to win, like New York.
Yeah.
Not that – hey, look, that guy's a worse owner than Josh Harris, James Dolan. I mean, the guy throws you out of the Madison Square Garden for wearing a sell the team shirt. I mean, that guy's the biggest toolbox going. Okay, here's another one. Caitlin Clark. Does Iowa win the national champ? Dude, I'll tell you this. Because of the way the bullshit NCAA shut down the March Madness because of COVID, I really haven't watched a lot of men's. I'm kind of getting back into it because I love talking to you about. And I used to really love the tournament, and I'm trying to get back into it, but I always thought that was a situation where they should never have stopped it. Okay, I never have stopped it. But I've been watching. I watched her against Nebraska in the Big Ten championship. Does Iowa win the national title, or is it LSU or South Carolina?
I mean, South Carolina, what are they, undefeated?
Yep.
They're 7-0 against top 25 teams. They've had probably the toughest schedule of any women's basketball team this season, followed by Iowa. I think Iowa's number 2. So their opponent rankings has been the second hardest. Yeah, I think it's going to be those 2 teams in the end. I think it'll be South Carolina and Iowa again. If you look at the top 25 teams, I think Iowa has the second best record against top 25 teams. So that's a little bit of an indicator to me that they can play with they're battle tested. So it's probably those 2 teams, South Carolina and Iowa.
Okay. How much do these conference tournaments like the Big East affect your takes when it comes to the NCAA tournament? Because UConn, Xavier, those are pretty good basketball teams.
Yeah.
Miller coaches Xavier now. I mean, there's some really good teams in that Big East. In your opinion, still UConn's tournament to lose?
Yeah, but motivation. I mean, they're already in the March Madness. You don't want to risk any type of injuries. Big game tonight against St. John's. I took St. John's plus 10, plus 9.5. That's a sleeper. I told you guys a couple of weeks ago.
You love Pitino.
Best coach in college basketball. I don't care what anybody says. Nobody's better than him. You could have got him at 500 to 1, which was a lottery ticket. I'm not telling you to go out there and spend $1,000 on it. You want to put $10 on it, 500 to 1 brings you back some good return. Another team, James Madison this year, 31-3 record, beat Michigan State first game of the season. I just bet them today at 500 to 1. And I think both teams can win a couple games in the tournament. And then you can look to hedge and make some free money. But I'm on Purdue plus 750. UConn. I usually delete the team that won it last year for winning it following. It's so hard to repeat. So I don't, as great as UConn is, I don't think they can repeat again. Houston, I mean, their defense, they can shut you down. They're amazing. 6-2 against top 25 teams this season. Arizona, West Coast teams to me are a little soft. New Mexico's a sleeper out there on the West Coast. There's some good bets. There's going to be some good bets. Kentucky, most talented team probably in college basketball. The only thing I don't like about them is they shoot a lot of threes. So if they get cold, they could be in trouble. But come tournament time, who's got more talent than Kentucky? You grab them at 20 to 1, which is a good bet. It's gonna be fun to watch.
Kenny Pickett season. Kenny Pickett, I want you to light a fire under Jalen Hurts' ass this year, because I want to see if this kid is who they think he is, because I don't.
You know what was a good pickup? You know what was a good pickup? Parker. They got him for $1 million, the wide receiver.
Yeah, no. Yeah, 31 years old. He didn't have to spend a lot of money.
That was a good pickup. And I mean, if you look at the Chiefs during the Super Bowl, they had more than 8 guys targeted with receptions. So I think the Eagles are looking that way a little bit. Come playoff times, the more valuable assets you got on offense, you can really, shift the game that way. So, and even the 49ers last year, I think they targeted 7 or 8 guys in the Super Bowl as well. So that's huge. So the more weapons they have, I mean, God bless them. But they got to, I don't know if Hennessy's the answer. He's always banged up. He's a big, strong guy. Injuries have plagued him, but they got him for nothing. So if he can plug a hole, that'll help. But it's just so hard to replace Jason Kelce, man. They got to make him an offer he can't refuse. And then we'll start getting excited in Philly.
Always remember, small hands lead to big things. How can people find you? How can people find you, big dog?
Yeah, find me on Twitter at Philly Godfather. You can stop by the PhillyGodfather.com.
Absolutely, brother. I'll catch you next week. Thank you, my friend.
You got it, guys.
You got it. That is the Philly Godfather. Absolutely. I tell you, remember, small hands lead to big things. Hit the like button. Big Sills, keep it here, National Football Show.